B'shut Kal HaKadosh, B'shut Kol HaMesubim, everybody welcome. Be'ezrat Hashem, Shem Hashem give us Baracha, Tzlacha, Briyut, Yaakov, and Asher. Be'ezrat Hashem, thank you for supporting the shiur, everything that you do for community. Yaakov is a great tzaddik. וגם תברך את יגאל אליהו בן נדיה, סלמון בן נדיה, יהודה בן אליעזר דחקנוב, בעזרת השם יקנה בית בלי מורגיש בשנה הזה, בעזרת השם יתברך, שתצליח בכל דרכיו. וגם תברך את קיריל דניאל בן מיכואל, שהשם גיבם זיווג הגון בשנה הזה, וגם בן בנימין בן יצחק. ברכה, הצלחה, בריאות, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. אלף הבדלות בין החולים לחיים, רפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף, כל חולי עם ישראל. Everybody who ever sick, may Hashem send them רפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף, בשנה הזה, עם פרט גדול ישראל בן שושנה רוזה. רפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף, אין לפניהם, אין לפניהם, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. אלף הבדלות בין המתים לחיים, לאלו נשמת, מולו ניסן בן פנינה, ישראלוב, וגם מזל בת ישוע, רוח השם תנחנה בגן עדן וכל השוכבים עמו בכלל רחמים והצליחות, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. Thank you for listening for shiur. So, with the following, we end up with Agadah of Pesach. So we continue with Agadah of Pesach. Hope we remember what we've learned. Once we're able to learn, we're able to say the Torah of Hashem inside the table. So the first Agadah, I'm going to give a little bit of introduction. The first Agadah was given and was said by who? That's the question. Who said the first Agadah? How the Agadah came to the Am Yisrael? Agadah to say V'agita levincha bayom ha'u. In that day you're supposed to be say to your kids. It's mitzvah aseh min hadoraita. Mitzvah aseh. It's a positive commandment from the Torah. Agadah, chas v'shalom, if a person does not have a matzah, he does not have a yain, what do? You say Agadah or you don't say Agadah? You still say Agadah. Because Agadah, this is mitzvah from the Torah. Who said the first Agadah? The first Agadah said, Yitro with Moshe Rabbeinu. He says the first Agadah. And that's how the Am Yisrael was continued, because he says, Vayishma Yitro. And he says in a parasha Yitro, and Yitro heard. The Chazal says, what did he hear? Rashi says, he heard Am Yisrael going through Yam Suf, and he heard the war of the Amalek. That's the two things he heard. And he came to Am Yisrael, and Moshe accepted him. Who was he to Moshe? His father-in-law. And that was Yitro. So the first was given Agadah, Yitro with Moshe Rabbeinu. That's very important to know, because we have to know the roots. How the Agadah made up, from what? The Agadah made up from the Lashon in the language of Aramaic and the language of Hebrew. It's mixed. So the first we start, He Lachmaniya. This is the bread, the oni, which means the poor man bread, which is the matzah considered poor man's bread. It starts in the Aramaic language. Why it did not start in the language of Hebrew or any other language? But most of the time it's supposed to be start something with the Hebrew. So the Chazal explained to us the reason it starts He Lachmaniya in the language of the Aramaic, because a lot of people back then were speaking the Babylonian language, the Aramaic. So that's why the Chazal tiknu, which just means they fixed it, so people could understand what they're saying. It's very important for us to go through Agadah and what we're able to say and how we're able to say, and we should know what we say. Each time a person wants to speak in front of somebody, what he does, he practice. And that's what we need to do. So I'm going to touch a couple points over here in the Haggadah of Pesach. The Haggadah starts with the Aramaic language. Like it says, Hey lachmaniya, di achlo avhatana ba'ara de Mitzrayim. This is the bread of the poor man, bread that ate in the land of Egypt. The chol dichvin yete v'yichol. Anybody comes in, come and eat. Kol ditzrich yete difsach. Somebody wants to come, anybody comes and eat. Hashata hachal l'shana ba'ara beYerushalayim bnuya. So he says, right now we're eating, but in the future we want to go to Yerushalayim, which just means the city of our forefathers Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Kol ditzrich yete yifsach, maaseh ba'ish ani v'galmud, v'asher Rabbeinu azmin la'asiv ad shulchana b'leil seder. Very important, of course I spoke about this many times. I have an organization that have around 200 families that we give out to the people every time in a Pesach, every time in a time of the Rosh Hashanah. I have this. Why we do that? Because the Chazal Ramah says, Kimcha de Pischa. You sitting, you enjoying yourself. You have everything beautiful. But there's a people out there does not have beautiful stuff that you have. So you need to take care of them. Because the Am Israel is investing in others. So each one of us will participate to give for the family he needed. So to give to organization, through my organization, and I dispense to the people that he needed. Most of the people that have either the divorce or they are in a widow position or the financial state is not good. So somebody gives me $20, $50. I'm not here to collect $20, $50. You want to give to $20, $50, right here, put it in a tzedakah. Let the shul pay for the light, for the air conditioner. Right now, just the matzah alone, because all these expense, matzah alone costs $35, $40 a pound. Then you have a meat. On Pesach is everything expensive. I receive a text message. Hi, Rabbi, can you please help me? I just had my 9th kid. My husband does not work. Can you help me? You held me in a Rosh Hashanah. Do I give her $200 and you say right here with the 9 kids to feed? No, it's not gonna happen, right? We just bought food just to buy food for the shiur. It's gonna cost us $200-$300 of food for us for 3, 4, 5, 10 men. But we want to give to somebody else. How we give? Right here, $20. It's okay. They could live with it. Why they need to make such a big Pesach? Chazal was very careful to give to others. Rabbi Chaim Ivalozhin all the time said to his son, you came to this world not for you, for others. But we as humans, unfortunately, we're very, very selfish. What means selfish? We are only worried about ourselves, our production. That's what we are. That's why they're called Chachamim v'Tzadikim. Why Tzadikim v'Chachamim? Because Tzadik v'Chacham is always investing in his people. So it says over here, Ani, Maaseh ba'ish ani v'galmud, asher Rabbeinu azmin la'asif al shulchan b'leil seder. Rav Yehuda Tzadka, he invites people. He invited one person in a Leil Seder, which is come to his house to celebrate with him Passover. ורבנו שב מבית כנסת אחרי תפילה, נפקד ממקומו של האורח, ורבנו המתין לו עד שיבוש, אף שבני משפחה כבר התווספו לספר מציאת מצרים. So Rabbi Yehuda Tzadka, he's inviting the person that is poor to his house for the Passover. And the guy did not show up. Rabbeinu already sit down, the family was already ready to accept the Haggadah of Pesach, to start the Passover. כי כי בטוח היה שאורח יבוא בכל רגע ולא רצו להתחיל בעריכת סדר בלעדיו. רבנו יהודה צדקה, he was saw the guy did not come, the poor guy did not come, but he knew, he had a feeling that the guy is going to come any minute. אך כאשר חלפה שעה ארוכה והאורח איננו, he says 1 hour passed by since Rabbeinu Yehuda with his family sitting and gathering. 1 hour passed by, he haven't started the meal yet, not even the meal that talked about the סיפור יציאת מצרים. ניסה אחד משתתפים לטעון כי בוודאי הולך אורח למקום אחר וייסע שמה. He says, one of the people that was gathering inside the Rav Yehuda Tzadka house, he says, I'm pretty sure the guest went to somewhere else. אבל רבנו לא שכנע ולא להאמין שכך קרה. But the Rabbenu said no. Rabbi Yehuda said no, he didn't go nowhere. ליבו אמר אחרת. His heart, Rabbi Yehuda Tzadka said something else. כננו בו הרגשה שעלה פשוטה מתבייש לבוא הנה להסיף השולחן מול עיניהם של כל בני משפחה, ואין מן הסתם עדיף להישאר בדרך מעונו לעורך את הסדר לבדו. משום כך להחליט שיש ללכת אל האיש, להביאו בכבוד ראוי לעשות ככל שירגיש בנוח. He says the reason he doesn't want to start because he don't want to feel another person to feel not comfortable. 1 hour passed by. So he says, let me go to his house and bring him with the respect. Rav Yehuda Tzadka was the Gedol Ador. So many people waiting for one person. Maybe he go to another house. Maybe he did late. But he did not come. Rabbi Yehuda Tzadka goes out of his house to this poor man guy. אך מי שילך ויבינו, לא רוצה רבנו לשלוח מישהו בני בית שם האורח ישרף לו. רבנו יהודה צדקה did not send somebody that maybe this poor guy would tell him, no, I'm sorry, I'm not coming. ולא ירד בעצמו במדרגה, אלא ירד בעצמו במדרגה ונכנס ללכת מיוחד על האיש, להפציר בו לשואל, במוטב להצטרף אליו, שהוא מסביר לו שיבוא להתארח, מכבד בכך הוא את רבנו, ושואל מדוע מוניע הוא מערב משפחתו עונג הזה. The rabbi goes himself to the house. Hey, tzaddik. Listen to the tzaddikim. The rabbi goes to himself to the house, and he knocks on the door. He says, me and my family, we want to accept you with the kavod. Kavod, which just means with the respect. We want to give you a good, pleasant time. It's a respect for us to have you. What we do if some situation happened like this? Oh, what are you sleeping? What happened to you? I told you should have come. Why didn't you come? My whole family is waiting. My wife is already looking at me out like this. My mother-in-law already screaming at me. That was our reaction. But the tzaddikim reaction is way, way different. Tilavot, to be respectful to each individual, even though they're thinking they are wrong. וזה משום עד שנטלו בידו ויביאו על מעונו. Rav Yehuda Tzadka took him from his hand, this poor guy, and brought him to his house with the hand. ואין להישאר כלל כמה מאושר ושמחה היה אותו עני. He says, we cannot tell you how much that poor person was so happy and able to satisfy himself through that time. שישיב על שולחן סדר של רבנו. So he says, how much is it important to act towards each other, because Kimcha de Pischa is very important to bring other Jews, to respect other Jews, give money to other Jews, able to support. ולא מעשה נוסע בבן ישיבה, מחוץ לארץ משתוקק להסיב בליל פסח שולחן הסדר של רבנו. There was there's people that go from America to Eretz Israel. And what they go for? They go to study. And this one gentleman is a young gentleman he comes in to the Rabbeinu, Rav Yehuda Tzadka, and he says, Rabbeinu, please, I want to be in your house. That's what he says. I want to be in your house. שולחן הסדר של רבנו, הלך מבקש מאחד הקרובים של רבנו להמליץ להזמין לסדר. הדבר זה כשנה מחצה לפני פטירתו. He says, how old was the Rabbenu before he passed away? This young gentleman asking him to go and invite. 1.5 years before the Rabbenu passed away, this young gentleman asking other people so he could able to have oreach, which means to be a guest in somebody else's house. And not somebody else's house, and a Gadol Ador, which means Jewish leader. אמר לו אותו מקרוב, איננו מרחיב להמליץ לפרוש בעדך. Says, I'm sorry, I cannot answer for Rabbi, and I cannot give a Rabbi advice to have you to be in his house. שבריאותו של הרב רופפת באחרונה. He says, the Rabbi does not feel good. ואולי יהיה העניין כולו לטורח. He says, when you're going to come to his family, it's going to be very, very problematic for the Rabbi. That's what the other person said about the Rabbi. עם זאת, הסכים האיש ללכת עמו לרבנו לספר באוזניו, אגב, אורחז דזה בחור לעד. אינו יודע היכן שיהיה בליל הסדר. So anyways, this gabbai of this rabbi goes to the rabbi with this bachur and he says, let's talk to his ear. Let me tell him that somebody wants to come to your house and let us seder, which means in a time of to have him Passover. תקף ששמע זאת רבנו אמר שיבוא בחור אליו. He says, no. Bring me the guy here, the young gentleman. I want to speak to him myself. והוסיף בכל שנה מחפש הוא אורחים בליל סדר. He says, not only that, he says, every year I'm looking for guests to be for Passover in my house. והשנה זו עדיין לא מצא אורח. He says, in this year I haven't found a guest in my house. והנה באתם עכשיו לשמוח את ליבי. He says, now you came to me, you made me happy. What is it telling us? He couldn't make excuse. I'm too tired. I don't feel good. Next year maybe. But what he said, I'm happy to accept you. That's why it's very important. Like we say, hey lachmaniya, this is the poor man bread we ate on Mitzrayim when we came out from the Mitzrayim, which means the matzah. Who fed us? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem fed us, correct? Yes? Did he tell us, listen, today I don't have bread for you, I'm too sick, I'm too tired? No. So that's why we pick up the bread, which is the matzah, the poor man bread, and we say that anybody is poor, anybody does not, he talks about us, cannot able to have the Leila Seder. Hashem, thank you that you fed us in the Mitzrayim, in the Egypt, and outside of the Egypt. So each one of us is very important. We learn another musar to care for another. One of the hardest thing to do, Saba Mikelim says, one of the hardest mitzvah to do is to love another Jew. That's one of the hardest mitzvah to do. All other mitzvot, we got used to it. Eventually we get used to it. Unfortunately, we're getting used to it. We got used to it, automatic. But to love another Jew, that's going to be a job. And that's going to be a big job. So the Egyptian taught us opposite. Not to love another Jew. The Torah teaching us every day we wake up, Pasuk ve'ahavta lerech kamocha. I have to love another Jew. So to love another Jew, it takes a lot of time. So let's go forward. So this is one of the explanation of why we starting taking the matzah and starting to say Hey Lachmaniyah, to talk about the bread. The Chazal teaching us how to have guests and how to invite guests, how we surround the people. So now we're going to learn something new. So it says, שבכל מיד שנה ושנה חוגגים אנחנו את חג יציאת מצרים. Every year we're saying the Passover, יציאת מצרים, coming out from Egypt. בכל הלכות ודקדותיה. Everything in the laws, the way it's supposed to be. מעלים אנחנו את ליבנו, מספרים לבינינו את שעבוד מצרים וגאולתנו. He says we have to explain to our children that Hashem took us out of the Egypt. We have to explain to our kids. So my question is, for the Talmidei Chachamim and Tzaddikim sitting here, how are you going to explain to your child that you were in Egypt? Which is, in the Torah it says, you should not lie. Midvar sheker tirchak. You should not lie. I was not in Egypt. I'm pretty sure none of you over here that lived in Egypt or been in Egypt. So which Egypt you talking about? The Chazal says to us, Egypt, we leave the Egypt, but the Egypt never left us. One of the things is been working day and night. That's called Egypt. In Egypt, the man did the woman job. The woman does the man job. That's the first thing. That's Egypt. Second thing, we're supposed to be in Egypt only 400 years. It's not supposed to be Egypt. It's supposed to be any exile. 400 years. But we end up 210 years over there. Why? Because we work day and we work night. So Egypt, when our sage says, you should tell to your kids about the Egypt. So we have to know the difference that when we come to the Egypt, we were very down spiritually. And that's what happens. Every generation, every day, we have to remember Egypt. You know this, guys? Shema Israel, you say Egypt. You put a tefillin, you talked about Egypt. It says, don't forget that you worked day and night. And you're going to have a countries that are going to make you day and night. One of the things, it says that when Moshe Rabbeinu saw how Jewish people suffering, and he says he was not given straw to build the walls of the Egyptian structure. Makes sense, right? You know that, Yosef? Yeah. So what they say, instead of we're going to give you a straw to build, put the mud, what? No. Instead of putting mud, we're going to take Jewish kids and we're going to put it inside. And Moshe Rabbeinu speaks to Hashem and he says, that's a fair thing to do. What kind of fairness it is? What kind of fairness is this? That's how Jewish people have to suffer? He says that's not fair. Hashem says that's not fair? No problem. Take one kid out of the wall. Take him out. Moshe Rabbeinu takes him out. In the future, this kid grows up. His name is Micha. This previous parasha Ki Tisa, when Erev Rav, which is like in Zohar says, parasha Ki Tisa, when a people that was a convert from Egypt come out, they did a golden calf. Micha saw when Moshe Rabbeinu took out the Yosef from Nile River, he put a Shem Hashem, which is Hashem's name, inside the river. Sarach bat Asher showed him the river. Micha saw how the gravy of Yosef coming out. Moshe Rabbeinu take this grave, the Yosef. Micha goes, this child, he takes this plate of Hashem's name. When the Erev Rav did the egel, which means the golden calf, He threw it over there inside the golden calf. Hashem says, you see, that's why I put all these kids inside the where? Inside the wall. Because I knew in the future they're going to do this idol worshiper. I knew that's what kind of kids will come out from there. So the Torah teaches us opposite. That's why it says we have to tell to our kids is opposite. Don't do idol worshiper. What's the idol worshiper in our time? Social media. Busy. Like right now we're sitting in Shur, Baruch Hashem. Right? Some of us are busy looking down. You know where we're looking. It's more important over there to look than over here, because that makes a person much desire. So it says over here we have to tell to our kids, don't be slaves to the governments of the world. That's the one thing. Because the government of the world wants us to be a slave. The only difference between this government and the Egyptian government is just a name change. Back then was a Paro, today is a Joe Biden. You're laughing because look at the taxes that we have to pay. There right now, this is Sodom. Right now, Eric Adams wants us to pay taxes for migrants to go to college. Nobody pay for my kids to go to college, but we have to. They're going to take out of us 50%, and we have to at least, and we have to pay for the taxes. Okay, you're going to find a way not to pay, how not to pay. But the fact is, they want to put this everything on the people. And that's what the Egypt is. But we don't understand it because the Yetzer Hara works like a Egypt. So it says, וגאלתנו, ולא רק פעם בשנה, חייבים אנחנו לזכור את יציאת מצרים, בכל יום ויום. He says, not only once a year, like you have a Thanksgiving Day, everybody gathers. Thanksgiving Day. In yeshiva we say, why they have to eat turkey? Why can't it be chicken? Why can't it be a steak? If you're eating, you have to eat something nice. You understand? They're going even to that. Why can't they be eating steak? Why can't they eat just the chocolate? Why has to be turkey? You understand? So it says over here, every day we have to remember Egypt. Every day, not only once a year, as gathering. ואפילו בלילות, even at night times, we have to remember the Egypt. Every day and at night times. כמו שנאמר כתוב, למען תזכור את יום צאתך מארץ מצרים כל ימי חייך. In Sefer Dvarim, in Perek Tetzayin, Pasuk Gimel, it says, remember the Egypt that I took you out all your life. That's what it says in Sefer Dvarim. ודרשו חז"ל כל ימי חייך להביא את הלילות. It says, all your life, like it says in Masechet Barachot in page 12, Amud Bet, all your life, which means all the nights. What's the most important thing that for the person does when it comes nighttime? He's too busy at nighttime. How is he too busy at nighttime? I want to waste time. I want to enjoy myself. What about Shurim? It's okay. It's going to wait. כל ימי חייך להביא את הלילות. גם מעיד על המשמעות מיוחד ליציאת מצרים בעיצבון של עם ישראל. לכן חובה עלינו להתבונן בהם להבינם. He says when we came out from Egypt also we have to be careful because we were depressed. He says when a person depressed he cannot think. He cannot concentrate. Happy person, he's more concentrate. He's able to connect a lot of dots. איתי במחילתא והיה לכם למשמרת, מפני שאקדים לקיחה את הפסח לשחיטה 4 ימים. So in the time of Egypt, Chazal explained, the Egyptian used to bow down to the sheep. So the Chazal says, Hashem told them, to the Jewish people, please take the sheep and tie it to the bed 4 days before the Passover, which is the Passover on 14 of the Nisan, which is going to be 15. 4 days before, they need to put next to the bed. היה רבי מתיה בן חרש אומר, ועבור עליך וערך והנה אתה את הדודדים, והגיע שבועות שנשבע הקדוש ברוך הוא לאברהם שיגאל את בניו לא יהיה בידם מצוות שיעסקו בהם כדי שיגאלו. He says Hashem took Jewish people not because they had so much mitzvot. That was not the reason. שדיים נכונו ושעריך צמח ואת ארון ואריה. הנה נתן לכם שתי מצוות, דם ופסח. דם פסח ודם מילה. Hashem gave two mitzvah for us. He says, you do the Brit Milah, you put on a mashkov, which means on a doorpost, or also Korban Pesach. Korban was Pesach. We take the sheep and we slaughter it and we put on a doorpost, we put the blood. But sometimes you see, unfortunately, people, they slaughter the sheep and they put it on people's forehead or in other places. שיעסקו בהם שיגאלו, שנאמר ויעבור עליך, וערך מתבוססך בדמייך, ואומר, גם בדם ברית שלחתי אסיריך מבור, אין מים בו. לכן אקדים לקחת את של פסח, להשחיתה 4 ימים, שהם נוטלים שכר אלא על מעשה עד כאן לשונו. He says, Hashem did not redeem us from Egypt because we were tzaddikim. Hashem did not redeem us from the Egypt because we had so many mitzvot. Hashem redeemed us with the kindness and with the nisim, with the miracles. מדרש הזה לשבונן מה אומר רבי מתיה, הגיע הזמן שבועה ולא היה בידם מצוות כדי להיגאלו. היכן הזה תנאי של המצוות? הרי בגזירה נאמר, ידע תדע ואחר כך יצאו ברכוש גדול. He says, why we end up in an exile for 210 years, supposed to be 400 years? One thing, when Hashem told Avraham Avinu, Lech lecha me'artzecha, he says, go out of your house, go out of your city, go out of the city where you're born, and he says, Mama irishena. Where I'm going to go? Hashem said, because you ask where you're going to go, your kids is going to be in exile for 400 years. Rabbi Nissen, this is chidush for you. Why did Avraham Avinu did not argue with Hashem and say, Hashem, please don't take the Jewish people to be in exile, which means it could be anywhere in the world. Why Avraham Avinu did not argue with Hashem? Did ever Avraham Avinu argue with Hashem? No tzaddikim? Huh? Yosef gonna give $50 whoever is answered the question. Yes, Ariel. The question is, did ever Avraham Avinu argue with Hashem?
Yes. Yes.
When?
The Jewish people. No. Yes, he did.
When? Say it again.
From how do you know you give me the baby? I want the baby.
How can I have a baby?
Right. So the Chazal says, like Rabbi Yehuda ben Eliezer says, you just give. You have to make a payment. So it says, Chidush, Avraham Avinu, when Hashem wanted to destroy the Sodom v'Amorah. Sodom v'Amorah, which means he wants to destroy the city of Lot. What did he say when he wanted to destroy the city of Lot? 50 people? Oh, tzaddikim. People they have over there. Tzaddikim. So he says maybe you have 50 tzaddikim, maybe you have 45, maybe you have 40, 36, Maybe you have 10. And Hashem says, I don't have any tzaddikim. I need to destroy it. Why did Avraham Avinu did not argue with Hashem and to say, how come my kids gonna suffer in Egypt? 130 years the Pharaoh was throwing the kids in the Nile River, the boys. Why did Avraham Avinu did not argue with Hashem? Yes, Tzadik. I can't hear you. We just said it. That was a good catch. You there. Rav Yehuda Tzadke explaining. When it comes to the Goyim, Hashem is destroying them, and Avraham Avinu did not want to destroy them. Because Avraham Avinu, Ish HaChesed, man of kindness. When it comes to the Jewish people, it's not destroying them. It's cleansing from the sin. Because it's cleaning them from the sin, he did not argue with Hashem. You understand the difference? When he came to the Sodom v'Amorah, Avraham Avinu started arguing. When he came to the Jewish people, when Avraham Avinu, Hashem told Avraham Avinu, your kids is going to be slave, he did not argue with Hashem. He was continue doing what the Hashem told him to do. Does it make sense now? Okay? כדי להבין יציאת מצרים נזכיר כאן את הפסוקים מדובר בעניין גאולת מצרים ואומר עליו השם אשר אני הוצאתיך מאור כסדים. So in order for us to understand what's the essence of the Egypt coming out from Egypt, פסוקים מדובר בעניין גלות מצרים ואומר עליו אני השם. Hashem says I'm Hashem. אומר הוצאתיך מאור כסדים. I took you out from the city of your city. לתת לך את הארץ הזאת לרשתה. It says, Avraham Avinu, how he conquered the land of Eretz Israel. How did he get the land of Eretz Israel, guys? What he was doing. What did Avraham Avinu, right now he's going to ask you people, how did Avraham Avinu get Eretz Israel? What did he do? What did he do? Chazal says he bought the Marat HaMachpelah. He did not buy the land. The way he got the land, he was walking. He says, any way you're going to walk is going to be your land. Avraham Avinu got the land through walking. You all going to say you should walk a lot. You're going to get a lot of land. ויאמר השם אלוקים במה ידע כי ירשנה. And the second thing, ויאמר השם, and Hashem says, במה ידע ירשנה. How do I know which land is mine? Avraham Avinu tells to Hashem tells to Avraham Avinu, how I'm going to conquer the land. And Hashem says, because of that, your children is going to be 400 years in a Mitzrayim. In an exile, not Mitzrayim. ויאמר עליו קח לי עגל משולשת. Third thing says, Hashem tell them, take me a cow that is third born to the mother's stomach. Why third born to the mother's stomach? The third born to the mother's stomach, which means the meat is much softer. ויהי השמש לבוא ותרדמה נפלאה על אברהם והנה האימה שכה גדולה. Says, and the sun comes out and comes down. And all of a sudden the pasuk says, Avraham Avinu fall asleep. Nenafla al Avraham eima v'shechha. Avraham was scared and he saw darkness. Gdola nafla alav vayomer Avraham yeda tida ki ger yeh zaracha be'aretz lo lahem va'avdum va'anu otam 400 shana. And Hashem told him, when you saw a dream, your kids is going to be in exile for 400 years. וגם את הגוי אשר יעבדו דן אנוכי ואחרי כן יצאו ברכוש גדול. But he says everything Hashem did and everything he does. He says in the future you're going to come out with a lot of gold and diamonds. When we came out from Egypt, each one of you guys, I want to know where is it though. Me came out with 90 donkeys. All of you came out with 90 donkeys of gold and silver. Where is it? So the question is asked, How did you get gold and silver if you were slaves in Egypt for 210 years? How can a slave get 90 donkeys of silver and gold?
We went out walking out.
Who was walking out?
The Jewish out of Egypt.
Okay, they're walking out. So if I'm walking out of the United States of America, somebody's going to give me 90 airplanes of gold and diamonds?
They were scared of the Jewish people. Scared. The Jewish people said, "Give me your money."
You ain't the push
I'm scared of the Jewish people because all their seed
My
happened.
foot.
And Paro said, "Leave now." They're safe. You're still leaving now.
They're still gonna borrow, no?
Say it again.
They're still gonna borrow from you.
How are you going to borrow? That's called stealing for you. You're not going to return it. The second thing is the second question. The second question is, if all the animals die in a makod dever, which means in a plague, all the animals die. How come they had each one of them 90 donkeys? No, listen. All the animals die, right? You read this in Agada. How they came out with the 90 donkeys. No, but they came out with 90 donkeys each. Each, yes, each.
זה היה למצרים, לא ליהודים. היו בברכה, תחת ההגנה.
No, but if the Yehudim tachat agana, how they able to kill 130 years kids? How they able to save the donkey if they were slaves? How can a donkey have, how the slave could have 90 donkeys?
What do you think? There was more donkeys than people.
Right.
מהתחיית המתים.
No? What are you saying, tzaddikim? That's how we learn every year Agada. That's how we understand every year Agada. I don't know if we're learning or we're just sleeping in an Agada. It's a question. We saying the 10 makot, which means the 10 plagues. It was all the animals die. There's another question: how the Pharaoh could run after the Jewish people with the 600. You read it, 600 Jewish people running with a horse. How can you run if they all die already? No, the horses, the animals die. Right. No Bechor. No, you mix in with the Bechor. Bechor, which just means the firstborns. Is a plague.
Last Makkah was
We're talking about plague.
when they find all the
The animals, you need to, I guess, go back to your Agada and to read each one of them, whatever the plague the Egyptian got. So let's forward. So this is homework for us to understand what we're saying. Bayom hahu karat Hashem et Avraham brit.
What was probably in the stables?
I don't know. Bayom hahu karat Hashem et Avraham et brit. Hashem made with Avraham Avinu, he made a covenant. Hine pasukim halalu tzarchim harbe itbonenut. He says, whatever we just said, Avraham Avinu, Hashem said you're going to be, your kids is going to be in exile. I'm going to make a covenant. Yehuda Tzadka explained, he's saying, we need a lot of explanation and we need a lot of pay attention. So what's the pay attention? He says, whatever we're saying right now, we got used to say this in one breath. One breath, the word, and we forgot about it. That's what he's saying. He says, we don't know what's hidden behind them. We don't pay attention because there's a many contradictions inside the Torah between the verses and passages. יש כאן פסוק דין קשה ונורא על אומר שלמה שטרם נולדה. עבדות ועינו 400 שנה. So it says 400 years we're going to be slaves. מה קרה פה רבנו? היכן? ולמה? He says 400 years. Why? Because Avraham Avinu says, Mama Eda Yerushena. Mama Eda Yerushena. 3 words he said, 400 years. We're going to be slaves in some country we don't even know. 130 years, the kid's been dying, and he's thrown to the Nile River, the boys. 2 years happened over here, Corona, everybody had a heart attack. 130 years. Then what we say? I love this picture. Hashem is forgivable. He's forgettable. If Hashem is forgivable and forgettable, for 3 words, we're going to be in a slavery 400 years because Avraham Avinu said. Does it make sense, guys? Unless you're reading different books, the way you're saying it, Hashem is forgivable. How come he didn't give Avraham Avinu? He said, listen, okay, you said 3 words. Which country I'm gonna conquer? Okay, he said, listen, you're gonna have this. He says, because of that, your kids is gonna be 400 years. He's gonna be slaves. Does it make sense, guys? Huh? Doesn't make sense, right? Tell me, is this considered Hashem merciful to us or no? But how? If somebody says 3 words, Maximo Stalin, when he passed away, Maximo V'zichro, there was a lady in Bukhara, she took the doira, she didn't know he passed away. And she was entertaining her granddaughter. They put her in jail for 10 years. Okay? Ma chatu ma pesha. He says what Jewish people did, what kind of sin they did, what they did, how they did, so they're able to be slaves inside the Egypt. גם יש להבין מה העניין של התרדימה גדולה נפלה על אברהם, והנה אימה שכחה גדולה נפלה. And he says, can I ask you a question? Why all of a sudden Avraham Avinu falls asleep and a big darkness comes out? What's with all this? דרשו חז"ל אלא 4 גלויות. Our sages say we need to go through 4 exiles. האם כורתים הברית? He says, that's the way we make a covenant between us and Hashem to go through 4 exiles. He says that's the way you make with somebody peace. How many times we heard there's right now United States of America and Ukraine it's supporting, and Republicans saying we don't want to be part of it. Mitch McConnell and the other guy and the new guy, he says we don't want to give free check and open check to Ukraine. So if you give an open check, the wars continue. Who cares? Right? So over here, when somebody want to make a peace with somebody, what the first thing he should do? Should approach him properly. And Rabbi Yehuda Tzadka is asking, how can you approach Jewish people when they're going to the exile for 400 years and you want to make a covenant? First, what are you doing? First, you make them to the slavery. First, they kill them 130 years kids, the Egyptian, they kill the Jewish kids. Then you say, I want to make a covenant. That's the way to do covenant? That's the question he's asking. That's how you make a peace? מנהגו של העולם שכורתים ברית, כל אחד מבטיח עזרה לחברו. He says, the way the world works, the way that we know this world, the way it works, in order for you to do covenant with somebody, which just means peace, you need to meet with him, you're going to explain to him, and you tell him, I'm going to help you. Which is we're going to be helpful to each other. That's the way it works. כאן אנחנו רואים אימה ושכחה גדולה, גלויות ועבדות, ראינו הלא דבר זה. He says, from here we see Jewish people is suffering and going through suffering and suffering. What kind of covenant is this? What kind of help is this? ההמשך הפסוק מדגישה מיוחד, ידע תדע כי גר יהיה זרעך בארץ, לא להם. He says, don't worry, you're going to be in an exile. Your generation is going to be in exile. Don't worry, Avraham Avinu. ועבדו ועינו אותם 400 שנה. Not only that, we're going to go through suffering for 400 years. והפילה אל אברהם אבינו רחמן כיצד קיבל את זאת בשלוות נפש. He says, how did Avraham Avinu took whatever Hashem told him and to sit quiet and don't say anything? איך לא ניסה אפילו להמתיק את הגזירה? How come he could not say, listen, okay, you want to give him a job day and night? At least don't kill the child. At least don't punish them. At least the Egyptians used to hit us day and night. At least don't do that. He did not say anything. Avraham Avinu did not say anything. אותו אברהם אבינו שרק אתמול, ששמע הקדוש ברוך הוא רצו להפוך את הסדום. He says, this is the same Avraham Avinu. Yesterday Hashem told him, I'm going to destroy the whole Sodom. עמד במלא קומתו להגן עליהם. Avraham Avinu gets up and he's protecting. I'm just going to explain to you what the Sodom is for your information. Whatever the Sodom is, so one of the things in Sodom happened, guys, they used to invite guests to the house. So when they used to invite the guests to the house, if a guest is tall, they used to put him in a small bed. Whatever does not fit, which means the feet and hands was stretched out of the bed, they used to cut him. That's the Sodom. Okay? What if the guy is small? They purposely put him in a bed, long bed, so they stretch him out to the bed. Okay? That's a Sodom. That's the second thing. They used to give money to a person as a loan. So what they used to put inside the money, perfume or cologne, used to hide it inside the wall. They used to smell it. They used to come at nighttime, they break it and they take it and they say that now you owe me the money. They used to take the knife, they used to hit him and the blood comes out. They says, now you have to pay me because I took the blood out of you. I did you a favor. How you like the law, guys? Something similar? Huh? Lot's daughter, that's where Hashem already cannot stand. Lot's daughter gave to the poor man a bread. They said, why did you do it? He says, I want to feed the poor man. They took the honey, they smeared her with the whole honey, and the bees came in to her, and that's how she died. And Hashem says, that's it, no more. Gay and lesbians also come from Sodom, also from Noah time. You could read it black and white in Parashah. Gay and lesbians, whatever Hashem destroyed back then, today they have parties, they're celebrating, and they're teaching this in school. But I know, guys, it's not you, it's not public school. It's not public school. The kids go to public school. They don't teach him this. Come on, Rabbi, you make it up. Google it yourself. They have him in hospitals in some states. The little girls become boy, the boy become girl. Google it. It's no more already joke. 15, 20 years ago, it used to be a joke. Today's day is not a joke. ששמע הקדוש ברוך הוא רוצה להפוך את הסדום. Even Avraham Avinu was praying for the Sodom to say, hello, Ribono Shel Olam. Save the Sodom, save these people. Maybe they're going to do tshuva. עמד במלא קומתו להגן עליהם, למרות שידע שאנשי סדום רעים וחטאים להשם מאוד. He says the אנשי סדום, which means Sodom and Gomorrah, they're the people are very biggest sinner to the people and to Hashem. Meod, he says, very. בכל זאת ניסה להמליץ עליכם בכל מיני סנגוריה. Avraham Avinu anyways wanted to protect them, not to be destroyed. אולי ימצאו 50, אולי 40 או 30. Avraham Avinu says, 50 tzaddikim. 40 tzaddikim maybe you have in Sodom. 30 tzaddikim. Kan shatak v'lo diber me'uma. He says, from now, Avraham Avinu sits quiet. He didn't say nothing. He said about other people, you protect them, but about his kid, he did not say. Does it make sense from our father? Did ever father would sit quiet for his kid, not protect his kid and protect others? Does it make sense, right? ועוד יותר דשתנו, מה מסיים הכתוב אחרי כן יצאו ברכוש גדול. And he says in the following, and he says, your kids is going to be in exile, they're going to come out with a lot of richness. They're going to be rich. Why the Torah puts a lot of emphasis on richness? Over here, Chazal, our sages says, you have to learn Torah, you have to be careful with the money. Shlomo HaMelech, all the kings, for Jewish kings, Hashem commanded them, they should not have a lot of money. Every time they had a lot of money, Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon himself said, I made a sin. Over here, the Torah talks about we left with a lot of money. איזה פיוס הזה? אם אומרים לאדם נכה את בנך מכות גדולות ואחר כך נשלם לו סכום גדול. He says, let me explain to you. Let me ask you. Let me first start punching your son, he says. Then I'm going to give you money. Would any parent would agree to that? Huh? So why we in Egypt? First we are getting hit, the kids getting destroyed 130 years. Then all of a sudden they're telling you, okay, you come out with 90 donkeys. What are you gonna say? I don't need no donkeys. I don't need no gold. Huh? Rabbi Nahum says so. Makes sense, guys? So what Rabbi Yehuda trying? He's trying to open up an eyes to us. האם יסכים לכך? איזה אבא יסכים לדבר כזה? He says, what kind of father would agree to such a nonsense? היש אלבון גדול מזה? He says, such embarrassing. ומרבה הפלא, כי הדברים הללו לא היו סתם דברים בעלמא. He says, whatever it says in the Torah, it's not just something, some words. אלא דברים התגשמו למעשה, ובכן התאמו הדורשות מאיתנו את הביור. He says everything that Hashem said, everything became physical. Now he needs to explain to us what happened. Why did it happen? כדי להבין, לעמוד עד היטב של הדברים, עלינו להמשיך להתבונן עוד יותר על תולדות אבותינו הקדושים כאמר הכתוב. He says now we have to understand more and more what it says in our holy Torah. From our forefathers. Our forefathers is Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, don't forget. Habitu el Abraham, Avichem, Val Sarah. He says, look at your grandfather, Abraham. Look at your grandmother, Sarah. ואז נתפלא עוד יותר מאברהם אבינו, אוהבו של הקדוש ברוך הוא כמה סבל עד שנולדו לו בנים. It says, Abraham Avinu is my son, and I love him. How much did Abraham Avinu suffer, guys? All his life. How can you love somebody and you give him such a suffering? First of all. Second of all, if he spoke directly to Akadosh Baruch Hu, Abraham Avinu, why did Hashem made him suffer to not have kids? How many years did Abraham Avinu did not have kids? The first kid he had, Ishmael, at the 90. The second kid that he had, which is 100 years old. Sarah was 90. Why did Hashem did not give him directly kids? If you close to me, it's a problem for me for you to give? No. Kama saval Avraham Avinu. How many tests Avraham Avinu went in his life? What was the hardest test? To take out his son and to slaughter. Why is the hardest test, guys?
Killing your own son.
Because of his own son. So back then, they used to bring their own son, they throw him in a fire. It's called molich. They used to go through the fire. Some American movies, they still have this. A dragon opened his mouth and they're throwing The crisscross, yeah, they throw in. Lucifer, they're called. They're working for Satan. And they're throwing the kids inside the fire. And Avraham Avinu goes to the whole world and he says, please, do not do it. Avraham Avinu, the biggest darshan, the biggest Baal Tshuva, bringing the whole world to the Hashem. Is he considered a hypocrite? Hashem tells him, Kach lecha et bincha, take your only son. Excuse me. I told the whole world, don't do it, and all of a sudden you're telling me to do it? Does it make sense, guys? If for 90 years, Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak was 37. Avraham Avinu was 127 years old, 137 years old when he took Yitzchak to bring him Korban. What did he do for 137 years? He fought not to do it. What happens afterwards? What happens if all your life you've been saying not to do it, and all of a sudden he says, Hashem want me to bring my own son Korban? How do you feel, guys? You're going to say, is there Hashem? You're going to say, there's no Hashem. It's something wrong, you say. Not only that, when Hashem commanded Avraham Avinu to take his own son, how long it took him, Nisan, to take Avraham Avinu, his own son, to the Korban? How many days? 3 days. Why so little? Did Hashem give him a time how long he's going to take him? Can you take Avraham Avinu 20 years? How many years did Avraham Avinu, when Hashem told him to bring your son Korban, how many years did Avraham Avinu waited? Yes, Ariel. How many? I can't hear you. He didn't wait. Why did he wait? Hashem did not give him time. Oh, he wanted to do the mitzvah as soon as possible. We learn from Avraham Avinu how to do mitzvot as soon as possible. But how we do mitzvot? We over here, kulam tzadikim. Everybody, Baruch Hashem, tzadik. The mitzvot, how you do? Rabbi, I'm too tired today. Avraham Avinu did not say, I'm 137 years old. I have time. Hashem could wait. My only son? Who told you? The Torah says, so what he says? Who cares? Kama Sarah Imenu, Kama Savla ad shinalda la ben. How much Sarah Imenu was suffering until she had a baby boy. ואלו שאר בני אדם יולדים בקלות מבלי רעש ולא צריכים לביאת מלאכים לבשרם. He says, all other people get quick born, everything, get married quickly, everything happens so quickly, but our forefathers, the pillar of the world, they have to suffer, they have to wait 90 years. Avraham Avinu has to wait 100 years. He has to Brit Milah, he needs to go through 10 tests. Hashem tells him, come out of your house, go to another country. Then he tells him, excuse me, I sent you to another country, to Israel? Yes? You came there? Yes? Made him friends? Yes? No, I'm sorry. Go back. You need to go to Egypt right now because it's hunger. I cannot be. It's hunger in Israel. You need to go to Egypt. What we would say? Hey, Hashem, excuse me, you're not there. You just told me to come out of my house. All of a sudden I come to Israel. There's no food in Israel. Where comes Avraham Avinu? To Egypt. What happens in Egypt, guys? No. What did happen? No, Sarah got kidnapped. All of a sudden, what we say? Oh, excuse me, Hashem, where are you? Sarah got kidnapped. You just told me go out of my house. I went out of my house. You just told me come to Israel. I came to Israel. I was hungry. I came to Egypt. The Egypt is a food, but they stole my wife. Does it make sense, guys? How many suffering did our forefathers went? We're talking about the most closest people to Hashem. How many sufferings they went? 10, at least he went. But if we go through suffering one time or two times in life, Rabbi, you see, I pray 3 times. I put a tefillin. I give a tzedakah. How come Hashem does it to me like this? How many times we say this? How come Avraham Avinu did not say this? There you go. Saba Mikelim says Emunah. If a person have no Emunah belief and a strong belief, he's going to have all the time question. Rabbi, I just pray Shacharit, but I got a ticket outside. You see, Hashem does not want me come to shul. Because I got a ticket. That's not why Hashem does not want you to come to shul. Satan does not want you to come to the shul, not Hashem. He says, you see, I give tzedakah, I'm still, how come the money is not flowing to me? I like to be flow. But we see from here, from our forefathers, how much they suffer. That's why they call forefathers. Because they never question Hashem. One time Avraham Avinu so-called questioned, Hashem says, wait, 400 years. Not only that, when Avraham Avinu, when a Sarah needs to get pregnant, who comes to tell her that she's going to become pregnant? Yosef. Angels. In this world, the angel came to your wife and said she's getting pregnant? Copying everything, one chick-chack, correct? But to Sarah needs to come an angel, Levosarot Tovot. What's happening over here? Saval ad shel nuldo banim. Kama savla Rivka ad she harata. How much Rivka Imenu, which is Yitzchak Avenu wife, 22 years she did not have kids. Then once she had kids, Esav and Yaakov, the twins inside, the Esav ripped everything inside of her. The Chazal says that's why she cannot have no more kids. They were inside fighting. She had a bad pregnancy. We're talking about who? Yaakov Avinu mother. ואחר כך התרוצצות בנים בקרבה כדומה, כל זה דורש מאיתנו לעמוד היטב בדברים להבין עבורם. He says, let's understand the whole thing that we're saying. We're just reading the words, but we don't read between the lines. Whatever the Rav Yehuda, why did I pick one of the topics? Because it goes in an understanding, not just, oh, we heard the drasha, is it tov Hashem, and finish, wow, amazing. But there's so many questions in amazing that we have questions inside of us. And he answered those amazing questions. Of course, we're tight on time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming. Thursday we have a shiur. Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to continue. It's very, very important to know the Agadah of the Pesach. It's the learning lesson for life, for every day, for ourselves. רבי חנניה בן הקדשה אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לבחר הרבה להם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר אדוני חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה